Welcome, dear friend. You didn't arrive at this video by accident. Something called you here. A question, a longing, a whisper from within that asked, what really happens after we die? This is God and the Other Side, where we explore the truths that go deeper than doctrine and the stories that bridge the world we know and the one we will all enter one day. Today's video isn't about fear. It's about clarity. It's about what the Bible, the saints, and many who've glimpsed beyond this world have revealed about the soul's journey after death. You see, every faith wrestles with this question, but Christianity goes further than abstract ideas or vague hope. It gives a roadmap, sometimes symbolic, sometimes startlingly clear, of what the soul encounters after its final breath. From the moment your heart stops, to the moment you stand before the divine, to where your soul journeys next, there is more beauty, more gravity, and more purpose in that process than most of us have ever imagined. But before we dive into that extraordinary path, a small request from the heart. If you find meaning in videos like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support us in creating more powerful, life-shaping content. Your voice helps us reach more souls seeking light in a dark world. Now, take a breath. Open your heart, because this isn't just a story. It may be the very insight your soul was waiting to hear. There's a story I want to share. It's not ancient. It didn't happen in a distant land. It happened to a woman named Sarah. She was 57, a mother, a school counselor, someone who believed in God but always kept him at arm's length. She didn't hate him. She just thought faith was something you figure out later. Until one night, later came. Sarah had a stroke. She collapsed in her kitchen. By the time her husband called 911, her heart had stopped. For 9 minutes, she was gone. But her story didn't end there. When she woke up in the hospital, she was weeping, but not out of pain, out of awe, because she remembered everything. She said that after her body shut down, there was a moment, not darkness, but a separation, as if she was slipping out of her skin. She floated upward, but not through space, through awareness. She saw her husband sobbing, the paramedics working, but none of it scared her. It felt distant, like watching a place she no longer belonged to. Then came the light. She said that it wasn't a light like the sun. It was alive. It wasn't blinding. It was knowing. The closer she moved toward it, the more she felt exposed, but not in a shameful way, more like being fully known and somehow still loved. And then, the moment that changed her forever, she heard a voice. It wasn't male or female. It wasn't in her ears. It was inside her and all around her. It asked, "Are you ready to see your soul?" And what followed wasn't judgment, not the kind we fear with gavel and flame. It was a review. She was shown her life, not in events, but in impact. Every word, every look, every moment of kindness or cruelty, not only from her side, but from how others experienced it. The time she comforted a friend, she felt the warmth ripple across years. The sharp words she spoke to her son in anger, she felt the wound as he did. It was like watching her life through God's eyes. Then came the moment of choice. The voice asked her, "Do you want to stay?" Sarah said the peace was so complete, the presence so pure, that everything in her wanted to say yes. But then she saw her daughter. She saw her husband's loneliness. She saw prayers, real ones, being whispered for her to return. And in that moment, she felt something deeper than peace. She felt purpose. And just like that, she was back. When Sarah opened her eyes in the hospital, she gasped for breath, not because she was in pain, but because she remembered heaven. And nothing in this world would ever feel the same. Doctors said it was a miracle she survived. But Sarah knew her return wasn't survival, it was assignment. She didn't come back with grand visions of prophecy. She came back with clarity that love, real, sacrificial, uncomfortable love, was the only currency that mattered. That presence she felt, which she called the knowing light, wasn't abstract. It was a person. It was Jesus. She didn't see him the way we see people here. She said it was as if his presence wrapped around her being, like truth itself had arms, like she couldn't hide anything and didn't need to. He didn't shame her. He showed her. Every wound, every joy, every wasted moment, every secret act of mercy. He revealed it all like a painter unveiling a finished masterpiece. But she realized she was the canvas. After returning, Sarah changed. She didn't start preaching. She started living differently. She forgave someone she hadn't spoken to in 20 years. She volunteered at a local hospice. She sat with dying patients and held their hands, not to fix, just to be. She listened more. She rushed less. She spoke gentler. She asked deeper questions. And every night before sleep, she whispered the same words. Lord, let me live today with eternity in mind. What does this mean for you? You may never have a near-death experience, but friend, you will have a death experience. So will I. So will everyone we love. And the soul doesn't vanish. It doesn't dissolve into stardust or go into a sleep of nothingness. It travels. It returns. It is received. Ecclesiastes 12:7 says, "The dust returns to the ground it came from, and the spirit returns to God who gave it." Jesus in Luke 16 described a man who died and was carried by angels into paradise. Not abstract energy, not a dream, a journey. And while the details may vary in each testimony, the pattern is consistent. A separation, a presence, a reckoning, a choice. So what do we do with this? What do we do with Sarah's story? What do we do with all the stories of people who died, saw, felt, and returned? We listen. Not blindly, not emotionally, but spiritually. Because the soul's journey after death isn't just about the after, it's about how we live now. Sarah's return wasn't about escaping death, it was about becoming fully awake to life. Her story teaches us that heaven is not earned, but it is chosen. Judgment is not condemnation, but truth. And death is not the end, but the moment when we finally see life with divine clarity. So let me ask you, what would your soul see if you stood before God today? What moments would shine like gold? Which ones would dissolve like ash? What regrets would rise? What kindnesses would echo? The soul doesn't need perfection, but it craves truth. And heaven? It opens not to the proud, but to the honest, to those who say, God, here I am, not worthy, but willing. If this story stirred something in you, if it made you pause, reflect, ache a little with longing, don't ignore that. That's your soul speaking.
That's the eternal whisper. And maybe, just maybe, you didn't click this video by chance. Maybe you were meant to hear this. Maybe God wanted to remind you, you are not your failures. You are not forgotten. You are my creation, and your journey is just beginning. So take this with you. Live gently, love deeply, forgive fully, and walk with eternity in your steps. And if Sarah's story moved something in your spirit, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to God and the Other Side for more soul-stirring stories like this. Every click, every comment helps bring light to someone standing in the dark. Thank you for being here. Stay awake, stay hopeful, and may you walk every day as if your soul remembers where it came from and where it's going. We'll see you in the next story.